Cali to H-Town on plate by plate. You in it for the crown or you stay up out the way, cause winning covers everything.
Everybody's pretty much like more on the offensive splurge of Golden State, of how they got so much firepower with Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry, and even the supporting cast of offenses like even Iggy and sometimes Draymond. But honestly, like what made the game or the series just totally unfair was the fact that Golden State's defense was very superior. I mean, it doesn't seem like it because the numbers were still in the 120s and stuff, but the fact that, Golden State's game plan was to more or less be like, well, let LeBron do LeBron, and we're just going to cover his outlets, because that's what makes the Cavaliers so powerful, is when everybody's getting their shots and they're catching and shooting. And then when you leave the game, because I mean, you think about it, LeBron had like about 30 every game or so, so they weren't really trying to lock him down defensively. I mean, they did put clamps on Kyrie though, like that was big. The first 2.5 games, even a little bit in the game 3, Klay Thompson had clamps on Kyrie, and that was big because it forced LeBron to even forcefully like feed the rest of the team and himself even more, because his running mate that alleviates the offensive pressure was getting shut down.
Yeah, man, Kyrie's my favorite player, and the first 2 games he really was not there. He worked for everything. I think he got like 21 in game 2, but I think he shot like 9 for 22 or something like that. He didn't shoot well. When it got back to Cleveland, he played much better. Game 3, he was just, the layups he was making were ridiculous. But again, it wasn't enough. Game 4, he was lights out, but that was the pride game. But back in game 5, the game where they got eliminated, first half, Kyrie was pretty good. Second half, you didn't really see him much. So, shouts out to the Warriors. They did a good job on Kyrie and made him work a lot more. And, he wasn't able to just destroy him like he did last year.
And then when you just think about it, like the defensive talent of Golden State, to have defenders that can defend on the perimeter and have long arms, can block shots, and even like someone hang in the middle. I mean, you're talking about Draymond, which is probably the defensive player of the year. You have Klay Thompson, who's basically first team defense should be. You have Iguodala, who's a little bit older, but he's still a first team defense capability. I mean, you see how he basically knocked the ball out of LeBron's hands in game 3. To rid of the game-winning shot, which I really feel like he might have made, because those are just the type of shots that he makes. And then you also have KD. I mean, you can't even knock KD. He's not really known as a defensive presence, but he's had his best defensive season this past year with Golden State, because that's what happens when you just surround yourself with like such talented players. I mean, they forced him to use his length, and even like his defense awareness kicked up. He was getting blocks. He was even hanging on the perimeter. Like he poked a couple balls away from LeBron and JR.
Where has this been your whole career? Like, you're super long. You should be an okay defender, at least an okay defender. And he used his length. So he used his length all season, and it was a factor in these finals as well. But like you said, getting around better players, not only does it force him to be better, but really it allows him to be better, because offensively he has it so easy now. See, in OKC, KD shot, KD's KD, so he can get a shot whenever. But in OKC, it was one-on-one basketball. So even when it looked like it was easy for him, he still had to work more for his shots. But in Golden State, it's no work at all to get shots and no work at all to get open. So he has all the time and energy in the world and the help in the world to just kind of roam around defensively and really do his thing on defense.
KD stepped it up defensively. That whole team defensively really like showed out, and Cleveland is like the only team in the league who can hang with Golden State shot for shot. Nobody else can, and Cleveland low-key could. That's what the acquisitions of Korver and Darren Williams was for, but they were shut down, bro. Like, there was no type of breathing space in between the closeout and the shot, and those players for Cleveland, those lights got too big, and they couldn't get it done, and it fell on Kyrie and LeBron, and it wasn't enough.
All right, so I'm going to discuss LeBron very, very briefly. This series didn't have really much to do with him because they faced the greatest team ever, and we'll get to that in a minute. But LeBron averaged 32 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. Yep. Triple-double. You know how many guys have averaged a triple-double in the finals?
Not a nail nutter. Nobody.
Yeah, 0 until LeBron. LeBron's the only one. So for him to average those numbers, and these weren't empty stats. LeBron was making an impact. He just went against the greatest team of all time. So ain't really much to say about LeBron. LeBron showed why he's still one of the 5 greatest players of all time. This series had virtually nothing to do with him.
Wouldn't say nothing, but I mean, for the most part, I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that. But there were some plays down the stretch where I kind of think I had to give it to him a little bit.
All right, y'all, keep it locked for the conclusion of this episode of Cali to H-Town.